Boko Haram terrorism, why TINUBU will have crisis with northerners and governors, also ex-governors, Nigerian prophet. The leader of the INRI Evangelical Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele, has issued a warning to President Bola Tinubu as he clocks 1 month in office. Primate Ayodele said Tinubu would have a crisis with some governors, past governors and northerners over Boko Haram and banditry. He said those mentioned above would believe he came for vengeance. The clergyman, however, noted that security agencies could do better under Tinubu. Primate Ayodele disclosed this during the release of his annual prophecy, Warnings to the Nations, on Saturday in Lagos. According to Ayodele, security agents can do better than the past government if they put CCTV everywhere and do what is needful. Boko Haram herders and bandits are terrorists, and if there is nobody to influence them, then they can't function. To be sincere, what security agencies are doing have a question mark, because when these terrorists are arrested, they still get released, and that is why Tinubu will have problems with ex-governors, present governors, and northerners. They believe that Tinubu has come to revenge, and that's why they will start having a crisis. He also warned that corruption may kill Nigeria, or might kill Nigeria. You can't erase corruption because it's already in the system. Corruption will kill Nigeria this time. I mean, maybe that's what's really needed for the change that we want, to be very honest, because the amount of talking, the amount of events that happen, and, it just seems like, this time around something will change, and it doesn't change. So then what happens? So I just personally think that, Primate Elijah Ayodele, I think this is the most, one of the reasonable things he said. He said so far, and I think it gives a bit more credibility. I think over-reliance on predictions and prophecies, it just doesn't help with the image of pastors, and obviously the unreliability as to how they never come to pass, and then obviously you attach that to the individual. I think this is a sensible thing he said. To be honest, my expectations were very low. I was thinking he was going to say something crazy, but I think there's a lot of logic and sense to what he's saying. But it's not necessarily anything new. But I just think the narrative, especially with influencers and the religious settings, saying the logical, just saying what the facts are, it just allows us to, get comfortable with the truth and just look at it for what it is and how bad our country is really going. Corruption is already in the system. I mean, it's the only way to solve this is to dismantle it and start again, because it's so ingrained even in our thinking, in our systems, as in not just the governing system, but the social system, the educational system, the judicial system, the civil system, in all areas, because at the top there's impunity, so it trickles down even to the bottom and the lowest of the low. So I think this is, a very sensible thing he said, very realistic, and maybe this time corruption would actually kill Nigeria, depending on how far politicians are willing to go. Yes. Tinubu knows Nigeria very well by Ambimbola Alam. They've said that he's not someone anybody or somebody can intimidate. It's not about intimidation. I think we take things too personally. We're all too in our heads. It's very, very selfish, especially when we're looking at the, governance. We're looking at the Nigerian society. We're looking at the country. It's not just us benefiting. So it's not, when we criticize or we make recommendations, it's not a personal thing to your character. No, it's an association to the office that you hold and what responsibility is required of you. And so saying that no one can intimidate Tinubu, it's not about intimidation. It's not. And I think because we take things too personally, we associate with politicians on a personal level that we forget to see how, in the bigger picture, they are represented. So it's like, okay, with Tinubu, yes, no one is coming for his character, but you can't think that all he has to do and needs to do is to be aggressive and then do something that you think is indicative of his power, and the next thing all the attacks just stop. I really don't think or believe in that. So yeah, because the president is the father of corruption, that is the reason corruption kills Nigeria completely under Tinubu's administration. Listen, you voted him in, okay? Whatever happens, accept it. Corruption is to be treated as a capital offense, to be meted with death penalty. If not, from the way the country is structured, corruption will not end with Nigeria except the death penalty is pronounced as an executive order. That is very extreme. And I think it's so embarrassing and very sad that a death penalty is the extreme we have to go to hold someone accountable for corruption, right? I think accountability, especially when it comes to corruption, should be very costly. Not a death penalty, but something that's weighty enough to be costly and heavy, not necessarily death penalty. How, where, why, who, when, why, so yes, it should be obviously an offense, but a death penalty I think is a bit too extreme. I personally think is literally starting again from the beginning. That's all it is. Like, it's really nothing else. It's honestly nothing else. But anyways, put what you think about this in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.